The Chief Justice of Nigeria will earn 64 million naira annually, while the President of the Court of Appeal and Justice of the Supreme Court will earn 62.4 million naira and 61.4 million naira respectively. The National Assembly passed the bill in June, and the President Tinubu's assent marks a major milestone in his administration's efforts to prioritize workers' welfare, according to the government. The bill aims to promote the integrity of the justice system and set a standard for Nigerian workers. Joining us is legal practitioner Evans Ufeli. Good morning, and thanks for joining us.
Good morning.
All right. Is this good news? Is there celebration across, the whole legal space in Nigeria? Is everyone celebrating?
Not exactly. Our problem is not about hiking salary or monument. I don't think it's a solution. I don't think it's a solution, because when you increase the salary and the economy is still battered, you are still going to battle with further inflation. And inflation, as we have it at 33.9% or thereabouts, you are increasing salary without a serious work on the economy to make it deliver on the promises of democracy. You are still going nowhere. So what will happen is that the moment this is implemented, which it has been passed, it's been signed, upon implementation, the prices of things will move up further. Then those whose salary have been increased will have to adjust to that. And by the way, why should this increase of 300% be only for the judiciary? I know that for the civil service generally, there's an increase in the minimum wage to 70,000 naira. But the judiciary sector has been singled out for this 300%. What exactly is the benefit? Why single out the judiciary for this? Is it to compensate the judiciary for the many crimes the politicians have committed by destroying our judiciary, or to compensate them for corruption or for further issues that is before the politician, head of the politician, as it relates to maybe the next election and all that?
When you talk about
this government,
Mr. Ufeli, when you talk about the politicians destroying the judiciary, what do you mean by that? And aren't these judges and members of the judiciary also culpable?
The judiciary have allowed itself to be used in a way that have not promoted democracy. Now look at the last general elections and look at the outcome, where the judiciary came up and gave a judgment that where a law empowers INEC to come up with a regulation, then it is INEC's prerogative to use the regulation during some of the elections and discard the regulation for some of the elections in the same election year. And the judiciary said that was okay. That is wrong. That's very wrong. I have a PhD in law, and I'm going to tell you that whenever the law, empowers you to do an act as a commission, that act, when you come up with that regulation, bringing out from that empowerment of the Constitution, that regulation becomes binding on you and the society. So it is wrong for the Supreme Court to have told us that INEC is not bound by its own regulation. And that is quite very wrong. And I'm saying that if we want to promote the independence of the judiciary, we have to do it in a way that you give them remuneration and give them independence. The politicians should stop infiltrating the judiciary, giving them gratification to change the course of the law, because that is dangerous. That is how I see it. I am not going to celebrate this increment in any kind of salary.
Okay.
Because it looks to me like it's gratification.
All right. Evans, to speak about the independence of the judiciary, you're highlighting the independence of the judiciary, and I want us to speak a little about that. You said that if we're going to effect independence of the judiciary, we need to be able to restrict the in other words, the interaction of politicians with, the officers of the court. Is it just when it comes to remuneration, or also from the appointments? Because we know that whilst the NJC has its role to play, the president, the executive, does also have a role to play in assenting to the appointment of the judges. So do you maybe think that that's another aspect to look at? Is that a standpoint you might consider if we're looking at the total independence of the judiciary?
It's a whole lot. It's a whole lot. The recruitment of the judges and the judicial officer, okay, their appointment, which is usually confirmed by the NJC. Okay, those who are appointed, and they are appointed on the basis of merit. The last appointment we had, we saw how that substantially and ostensibly children of judges and relatives of judges were the one who made it up to the list. Those who do not really know people do not clinch the list just because you have corruption and corruptive tendency. And the judiciary is a special arm of government because you are supposed to attain whatever you are attained there by professional elevation. And it counts you cannot become a Supreme Court judge if you have not practiced law for 15 years, for example. You cannot become a High Court judge if you have not practiced law for 10 years. Even when you have practiced law for 10 years and 15 years respectively, you still do not qualify until your record shows so, until you display some level of extraordinary ability in the legal profession. So all that have been put aside. Then politicians are now the ones, we look at them celebrating the assent of the president, the 300% hike emolument, celebrating it and jumping all over the place. Was that what they did when the president signed other bills into law? When the president signed the 70,000 naira for minimum wage, the politicians, were they all there clapping and jubilating? Why do they have to assemble for the judiciary like this? I mean, I don't know whether you guys have seen what I'm saying.
I mean, you make a strong point. It's not common to see.
I'm not happy about this.
Yeah.
I'm not happy about this. I'm ready to say the truth. Whatever it is you want to do to me thereafter is a business. Why are they jubilating over this?
Yeah.
Is it because the judiciary, the politician suddenly now loves the judicial worker?
Well, the narrative.
Why have we not?
The narrative is, that this shows, President Tinubu's interest in the welfare of the Nigerian worker, but of course, this is particularly the judiciary here. But you do make a strong point, with the questions you're raising as to why they are so, happy about it. What is there to celebrate, with this? But I also want to point something out. If you remember, the NBS, National Bureau of Statistics, did put out a report sometime this year in 2023, sharing that Nigerian judges and magistrates received the highest amount of bribes among public officials in 2023, surpassing even police and customs and military personnel, which it's entirely shocking to hear. But does an increment in salaries maybe then mean that you would have less of these bribery in the judiciary?
It's improbable. It's improbable. A corruptive mind or a corrupted mind may not be assuaged by 300% increment in salary. I say may because one who have discarded the calling of his profession, a noble profession, and I've set it aside to collect gratification, to twist the law and to change the course of jurisprudence. I do not think a 300% increment in his salary or whatever can assuage his contempt or can assuage his greed and erase, his unprofessionalism. I don't think so, in my opinion. So I think what we need, because the judiciary is the only thing left. The politicians have destroyed every other thing. And now they are swimming into the judiciary, and we have allowed them to come take residence here. They know now that the people no longer determine who wins election. They know. The politicians are crafty and very proactive. They know that the electoral system is battered. They have destroyed that one completely. So they know that the only institution left that can, stop you or allow you as a politician with your corrupt tendencies and all that is the judiciary. So now they are throwing a tea party for the judiciary. Okay? Buying them over indirectly. Using gratification indirectly to promote contempt. And then turn around to say there is a love that they have for the judiciary, which just happened suddenly. That is why they have, that's why they are doing what they're doing. The judiciary can decide whether you become a president or not. The judiciary can actually look strictly to the law and deliver judgment on the merits that will affect someone. Right. So that institution is sacred, or is supposed to be sacred, and should not be allowed. This, in fact, this increment on the scale of things, the judiciary is supposed to reject it. Supposed to reject it and ask questions. Why do you single us out for 300% increment? What
would you have? Are you completely against the increase of the judges' remuneration, or are you against the fact that it was as high as 300%? As you answer that,
I'm against the intention. I do not trust the intention.
Okay, you don't want the increment at all. I do
not trust it. Not that I don't want the increment. I don't trust the intention.
Okay.
I'm not saying the judges should not be paid well.
I ask this because for the longest time, judges have, there's been conversations about how judges have not been adequately remunerated. I'm not quite sure now if it was the Attorney General of the Federation or the Chief Justice, but one of the two of them had said that, part of the effect of this is the fact that, if we don't increase their salaries, we're going to see that it would affect poor dispensation of justice. And that's not to in any way excuse bribery and corruption. But Nigeria has fallen on hard times. So are we saying that the government should not have in any way increased, regardless of what the intention is? These people need to survive. The judges need to survive. They need to be able to make ends meet.
They need to increase. They ought to increase. But I'm saying, what's the party for? They need to increase. They need to make judges comfortable. I mean, you don't get me wrong. The public should not get me wrong. I'm not advocating against the salary of judges and the judicial workers. Of course, I couldn't have done that because I also want to see them live well, to be able to do their jobs well, and to be able to be productive in the scheme of things. But what I'm saying is that it looks like a jamboree. I mean, why are the politicians celebrating it? Why are they all over the place for the judiciary suddenly? So that is my worry.
All right.
Otherwise, I will promote a judicial system where judges will be very well paid, so that at least you can sway them away from the temptation of collecting gratification. Okay? And then they are given a very robust package. That is fine. But when it becomes the Senate president is jubilating, the president is jubilating, and the polling parties more than the judiciary itself. So
well, maybe they were all just in a happy mood yesterday. But I don't know if you've also seen, before we go, I'm not sure if you've seen the alleged bill by Speaker Tajuddin Abbas that looks like might be an attempt to stifle opposition and protest. I'm not sure if you've seen it yet. The one that criminalizes protest to some extent, and of course criminalizes insulting the president and the political leaders,
and religious leaders as well.
Yeah, criminalizing persons not singing the new national anthem. Have you seen that?
Well, I have not seen that, but what I know is that freedom of expression is guaranteed by the Constitution. Even though it's not absolute, it's guaranteed. As long as your expression is within the bounds of law, there's no part of the law that says you should not abuse the president. Morally speaking, you shouldn't, but no law says so. Let the president sue you for defamation or whatsoever it is. You cannot criminalize an act of expression just because you're a lawmaker today, or you make an attempt to stifle freedom of speech or liberty or movement. And protest itself cannot be criminalized because it's part of democracy. Protest made it into the Bill of Rights as far back as 1223. Okay, then so you cannot get a law that will now bring protest to a halt because people must, if you are governing well, they will have no need to protest. I mean, if you are not governing them well, you are filtering their resources and you don't want them to protest. That wouldn't work.
Right. These are just for now. These are claims for now. The only paper we currently have the report by the Sun newspaper, and we're hoping that we'll get more information. It's called, according to the Sun newspaper, it's the Counter Subversion Bill 2024. And we hope that we can get a clearer picture, and maybe they can come out to tell us that it was a misunderstanding or misrepresentation of some sort, because Nigerians are not finding it funny. Evans Ufeli, thank you for joining us. We look forward to having you again.
You're welcome.